A few years ago, I used to work the night shift at a gas station just outside a small town in Texas. It wasn't a busy place after midnight. Mostly truck drivers, people passing through, and the occasional local who needed snacks or cigarettes. One night, around 1:30 a.m., an older woman walked in. She looked like she had been crying for hours. Her eyes were red, and she was holding her phone tightly in both hands. I asked if she needed help finding anything. She shook her head and quietly said, "Can I just sit here for a minute?" There was a small table near the coffee machine, so I told her, of course. She sat there staring at her phone for almost 20 minutes. I figured she was waiting for someone, but no one ever came. Eventually, she walked up to the counter with a small cup of coffee. When I ran it up, I noticed her hands were shaking. I asked if everything was okay. She hesitated, then said something I'll never forget. "My son used to stop here on his way home from work." I nodded, waiting for her to continue. "He worked construction about an hour away. Every night around this time, he'd call me while driving home, just to check in." She paused and looked down at her phone again. "But tonight, the police came to my house." My stomach dropped immediately. She swallowed hard before continuing. "There was an accident on the highway." For a moment, neither of us said anything. Then she showed me her phone. On the screen was a voicemail notification. "I can't bring myself to listen to it," she whispered. Apparently, he had called her right before the accident. The call went to voicemail. "That's the last thing he ever said," she said. Her voice cracked. "And I'm terrified to hear it." I didn't know what to say. There isn't really anything you can say in moments like that. She asked if I could sit with her for a minute, so I did. The store was empty anyway. After a few minutes, she finally took a deep breath and pressed play. The voicemail started with the sound of a car engine in the background. Then a young man's voice. "Hey, Mom, just leaving work. Traffic's bad tonight, but I should be home soon." There was a short pause. Then he added something that made the woman completely break down. "Don't stay up waiting for me, okay? I love you." That was the entire message, just 12 seconds long. She sat there crying quietly while the voicemail replayed. After a few minutes, she wiped her eyes and managed a small smile. "At least those were the last words I heard from him," she said. She finished her coffee and stood up to leave. Before walking out, she turned back and said something that stuck with me. "Call your parents whenever you can," she said gently. "You never know which conversation might be the last one." I've never forgotten that night, and ever since then, whenever I leave work late, I still call my mom on the drive home.